All right, now on to some breaking news that has, remember, sent ripples across the globe. These are the live visuals on your screens of US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi making her exit from Taiwan. So these are the visuals on your screens of Nancy Pelosi, the US House Speaker, departing from the much contentious territory that is Taiwan. Remember, the US Speaker, in fact, landed in Taiwan amid Beijing's China's stern warning to the US. And now, shortly from now, the US House Speaker will be flying out of the capital, Taipei. And pertinent to note that Pelosi's next stop is going to be South Korea. So that's the latest that we are picking up on the big mega showdown between US and the Beijing. And after a historic visit, now US House Speaker departing, making her exit from Taipei, Taiwan. And I'm being joined by my colleague Srinjoy on the broadcast. Srinjoy, now that Nancy Pelosi is all set to make her exit from the much contentious territory, if you could just summarize for the benefit of our viewers the significance, the political and the diplomatic significance of the US House Speaker's visit.
Well, very significant, naturally, because at this point, it is very, very clear that America has cocked a snook at the Chinese. Regardless of the economic problems, regardless of all those issues, the Americans have said that, look here, we see Taiwan as a friend, and this is actually a message to China. We are going to Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi is not just the speaker, she is the number 3 as far as America is concerned, only after the president and vice president. And she will be going, and speaking very clearly against China. She mentioned, number 1, that Taiwan was one of the freest of countries. Now, it's a way of saying that if Taiwan is one of the freest of countries, the People's Republic of China, headed by all their communist leaders in Beijing, is not. The second point she made, and she made it in a very determined way, was she brought up the Tiananmen Square massacre. Now, these two things are not going to make the Chinese very happy. This was not a low-profile visit. This was a deliberately high-profile visit. Now, the Chinese have warned. Now, the question is, the Chinese have said a lot of things. Now, what is it that they will do? That is the point we need to see, because there could be diplomatic problems between the two countries. It's bad enough as it is. There might be a case of ambassadors being called back and ambassadors being sent back. Then, of course, there could be economic trouble because China and America have a huge trade link. And the balance of trade firmly is in favor of the Chinese. So the Chinese, as a result, have actually bought up billions and billions of dollars of American currency. If the Chinese suddenly decide to release all of this in the market, the American currency will actually be in trouble, and the American economy will be in trouble. So we'll have to see what the Chinese actually do now, because they've been talking a lot. They've been warning people, they've been threatening the Americans, but it's one thing to say things, it's another to do things. The question is, what will the Chinese do now? As far as India is concerned, India has the same position as America in some ways. They follow one China. India follows one China, which means India recognizes the People's Republic of China in Beijing. India has no diplomatic tie with the Taiwanese, except that there is an economic office in Delhi. Taiwanese, India has something similar. A lot of Indians learned in China, in Taipei. But beyond that, beyond economic links, there is not a diplomatic link. Whether that will ever happen again, when it will happen, we do not know. It's up to the Indian government.
All right, Srinjoy, there has been a recent statement from China where, in fact, the foreign ministry has gone on to say that our countermeasures are going to be resolute, effective, and both the authorities in the US and Taiwan will feel it. What exactly do you make of that statement coming in from China?
Well, you would expect the Chinese to at least say that. It's important that the Chinese make their presence felt, and they would quite naturally say these things because here they believe that the Chinese sovereignty has been involved here because China believes that Taiwan is a part of China, as does America, as does India. So naturally, the Chinese will make a statement like that. But what kind of action will China take? Will they take diplomatic action? Will they take economic action? Will they take strategic action? Will they take military action? Perhaps not the last of the four, but definitely there will be some part of the other three. When this will happen and how this will going to happen is something we'll have to wait and see.
All right, one final question before I let you go. How can this have an impact on Beijing's current geopolitical standing?
Well, China in some ways is isolated. It has a few friends. Russia is a close friend. Russia is the only big friend that matters. I mean, Pakistan internationally is not a country that really matters. Russia certainly does. Russia is a friend, and Russia remains one, especially more so after the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. But it has to be said that China is currently isolated in a large way. The West does not like China. America particularly does not like China. China is powerful because of its economic clout in some parts of Africa, some parts of Southeast Asia. But beyond that, of course, it's the number 2 economic power in the world. There's no dispute about it. And the clout that comes with the number 2 economic power in the world is with China. And if China wants to act, of course, it will be hurt if it acts against America economically, but it has the potential of hurting America as well.
All right, Srinjoy, thank you so much for joining us with all those big details on this mega story that, remember, has sent shockwaves across the world. So that's the latest that we are picking up. US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi ending her 15-hour visit in Taiwan. And in fact, she's headed to South Korea next. Now, what will be Beijing's next move? Only time will tell.